There is a problem with restaurant reservations. There's a case to be made for taking reservations and not to take reservations. So we're going to talk about how problematic they can be. This gentleman, he makes a really good point. Let's take a look.
One of the reasons don't take reservations is because people make reservation at 6 o'clock. Half of the party shows up. The other half is just, oh, we're parking. So I have a table in the corner down there. 3 ladies, they are holding a table that can fit 6 people. They are 3 ladies, but 2 of them showed up. They are holding a table of 6 people. You can say anything, but that's why I don't take reservations.
Boom. There it is.
Point. We're going to explore the challenges that for both guests and restaurants.
On taking reservations.
Now, the benefits of the restaurants is it's clear. You know how many guests are coming in.
Yeah, you have a general outline of exactly how your night's going to flow.
You're going to know who's walking through the door specifically to cater to them in a hospitality
situation.
People confuse service and hospitality. You can serve anybody that walks in the door.
Absolutely.
But you can provide better hospitality when you know their name, you know how
what
many
they like,
visits.
what they eat, I have guest regulars, and I make them feel like they're at home because when they walk in the door, there are drinks on the table waiting for them. I know what appetizers to put in. I can do X, Y, Z immediately. Yeah. And then they even their experience with like what they're eating, they might eat the same thing, and if they don't, I'll give them a menu. But most of the time, they have an idea, and you can kind of just walk them through their whole experience and let them have a really good time. Yeah. And that's what you do this thing for.
And that's what hospitality is.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about what the guests expect when they make a reservation. And for the most part, guests believe that when they have a 7 o'clock reservation,
they're going to sit at 7 o'clock, eat X, Y, Z.
Which is a little unrealistic in my opinion.
No, especially, at most, you reserved yourself a spot.
Right? Well, let's go through the reality of what happens in a restaurant.
Absolutely.
Okay? When the restaurant is sat, you have no control over
how long they sit.
Right. If the guests are lingering, and it's not a bad thing necessarily.
Yeah.
But there is a flow to a restaurant.
Absolutely.
Things can happen. The kitchen could be a little bit backed up, or service could be a little bit slow. Service could be a little bit quick, whatever the case may be. Now, if you're going to think that you're going to have guaranteed seating,
especially with like a large party, I feel like more so than anything else, because you're limited in situational seating.
That is true. Let's set aside the large party for a second. Let's say 2 top, 4 top, and by the way, when you're making a reservation, 2 top, same as a 4 top. If you add one more, you're adding problems to your reservation. 5 top is the same as 6 top.
Yes.
And there are not as many of those in a restaurant traditionally. So you're going to have a different window than a 1, 2, 3, or 4 in a restaurant. So be careful when you're just adding people on, even if you think that they may or may not come, or even if you just show up and you say, oh, we have one more. If that tips from 4 to 5, you may have an issue.
Yeah, you will have an issue. That's a whole different table.
That is a whole different
That's a whole different table. Unless you are blessed with a place that either does all rounds where you kind of fit one more chair in. Because think about it, if you're a square table, there's 4 sides.
Right.
Okay, there's 4 chairs.
Think about it, people.
Yeah.
Think about it.
So you're 1, 2, 3, 3 to 4, you're fine. 2 to 3, you're good, okay? Yes. But once you go past that threshold of a normal table, which is a square, you're running into issues.
And then it goes up from there. Generally, if you go from 6 to 7, you're at a 10 top.
Absolutely.
And that's even more rare.
Yeah.
So a lot of places want to bump you either to the beginning of the evening or to end of the evening to really avoid having to...
that true congestion, because... especially, like you said, you don't know if the kitchen's having issues. What you usually run into issues is going to be with a larger party.
Now add in late arrivals.
Yes.
Okay? So really and truly, most places that are well run will not seat incomplete parties. There are some exceptions, and we won't. That's the time for another
whole different show.
If there's a time limit, you are going to be sat incomplete because you're not going to hold the table.
Yeah, you're messing up your own time.
Exactly.
Yes.
And the time is going to be running no matter what. So on a reservation, a regular reservation, you will not be seated at well-run restaurants sat
With party
incomplete.
complete, yeah.
Their table is not going to sit empty.
That's the key. They're not letting the table sit empty. They'd rather sit somebody else until your party gets there, and then once you guys are fully, now you're either gonna have to wait a few more minutes, which you kind of did to yourself because you didn't show up at the same time.
There you go. I mean, think about it. It's a business, so the restaurant is going to fill those seats if they care about
money,
about their bottom line.
Yeah.
And if you're late, someone else is going to get that table, and then you're next.
Yeah.
That is, in fact, what a reservation is.
Yes.
You show up to the restaurant, you check in, you're next.
That's
Hopefully
all it is.
you have a table available. If not, you go to the bar, you wait a little bit. You don't have to drink anything,
Yeah.
or if there's a waiting area.
Yeah, absolutely.
And ideally, a table should open up within 15 minutes.
Roughly. Yeah, absolutely.
So think of a reservation as a 15-minute window.
Mm-hmm.
Think of if you walked up, you may get sat immediately, or you might have to wait 30, 40 minutes.
Absolutely.
For me, I won't wait 40 minutes for a table, but I know that my threshold is 20, 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Unless I'm on vacation and I'm going to a new place.
And you don't know the expect. You're gonna give them a little more leeway.
Exactly. So it's very important that you understand that late arrivals will throw a kink into things for everyone, both guests and restaurants.
Yes.
And when you're talking about not knowing how long a table is going to sit, you have to allow some leeway there. Don't just set your expectations on we're next.
Yeah,
more so
exactly.
Than we have to be set now.
Yeah, that's
because
not,
we have a reservation.
Yeah, and don't go somewhere and don't also. I see this happen all the time in spots. You'll come into a restaurant. I have a reservation. I made a 7 o'clock reservation, and I need to be at a movie at 8:30. Like,
I understand that you think that it should take X amount of time to eat a meal.
give yourself a buffer.
And it's also out of your control.
Yeah.
There's expectations that are normal. It's normal to go to a place and budget 2 hours for a meal. It shouldn't take more than 2 hours, then you're having a bad time.
Yeah.
As far as being able to get in and out.
Absolutely.
If you have less than an hour to go, consider buying some snacks at a convenience store and eating later, because then you are putting unrealistic expectations, particularly
on the
a
restaurant.
full-service restaurant.
Yeah.
Okay, if it's like a quick serve restaurant.
Yeah, if you're going to quick serve, then that's okay. You expect to get served quickly. If you're going to a full service restaurant, come with expectations, like you're saying, realistic expectations. Don't be mad. Don't be waving your server down. You sat. You came in.
Yeah.
Let's say you got there. Let's say you showed up 5-10 minutes late, okay? Mm-hmm. They seat you within five, like you just said, they gave you that 15 minutes. So your reservation is at 7, right? You need to go see a show at 8:30, like I just said. You get there at 7:10, okay? You don't sit till 7:20. Mm-hmm. Now you're late. You'll have that hour window. Your food, you put your food in. It might take 20 minutes, which is normal, okay, at any normal restaurant. 10 to 20 minutes is normally the window. Anything past that, past the 20-minute mark, you should be... You want information on what's going on.
It depends. It depends. Obviously, it depends on volume.
Yeah, and size of your party and everything.
Size of your party, and it depends on what you're ordering.
Yeah.
Right? If you're ordering a well-done steak or something that takes a lot more prep or something that's not even partially done,
it's going to take longer. Yes.
Exactly. And so... staying on topic, one other thing that we touched upon that could be an issue on the guest side and the restaurant side as well is the larger parties. So 100%. If you have, an 8, a 12, a 10, a 15, punctuality is even more important.
Yeah.
Because then you're getting into, when you make a reservation, most likely a well-run restaurant is going to ask you for a deposit. Mm-hmm. And that's just a certificate of faith that you're going to take this reservation seriously, and you're going to show up because this restaurant is going to save tables. Now, there's no scenario where you cannot save tables for a 12 to 15 top.
No.
You have to save.
Yeah, you have to.
You can't. There's
no next. You got to make sure that table's waiting for that people.
That is true, unless it's a modular place or unless it's at the end of the night.
Yeah,
at which they're going to most likely want to.
Still have that spot waiting for you, like within 30 minutes before.
In my opinion, you have to have a really good arrangement, repertoire with the guest to take a party like that.
Yeah.
Because it is detrimental to the restaurant if you seat that area is unsat
The whole night.
on a particularly if it's like a Friday or
night,
Saturday
yeah.
night, so those things are very important. And the last thing, cancellations and no-shows.
All day.
The bane of our
Yes.
existence.
You might walk in and say, okay, I have XYZ on the books. And then halfway through, you got this many cancellations. So it cuts you in half.
It really,
Not in half, but you know what I mean.
It really does. And what restaurants are going to start doing is flagging guests that make reservations and no-shows. You won't be able to book at that restaurant again. Reason is, things happen.
Mm-hmm.
But the lack of communication is in a no-show or a cancellation that you're not canceling within an hour. You need to cancel either that morning or the day before.
Yeah.
Because the restaurant is going to staff accordingly. They're going to prep accordingly.
Just like when you go to your doctors. Okay, people, you make you make not a reservation, you have an appointment.
Yes.
And if you don't show up on the day of, they're still charging you at the doctor's office. Okay, for whatever whatever your copay was or XYZ, 95 to 90% of the time, doctors, dentists, across the board, you see it where you're getting tax hit in the head because you didn't show up because it was on you.
Yes. And it's really up to the restaurant industry to stop cutting each other off at the pass it's a tough business.
It is.
It's a tough business, so I get it. But it's also a low margin business.
Yeah.
And it really behooves you to I don't understand when restaurants are willing to
Bend and break.
a little too much.
Yes.
I get the hospitality issue.
100%.
But the needs of the business really have to come first.
It's still a business.
Not in a rude or mean way.
Never.
That you alienate your guests.
No.
But you really have to set these parameters where you're filtering out people that aren't going to be in alignment with your policies.
Yeah.
Right? And
Your core goals.
your goal is to make money and
it's a business.
serve the guests in a hospitable manner.
Absolutely.
Right? So let's talk about a couple of things on the restaurant side. And it is what at the top of the show, we looked at the gentleman and talked about incomplete parties. Have you remembered a time where you've gone out and you weren't sat because your party was incomplete?
Yes.
And have you felt a way that turned you off?
Yes and no, because I had to, at first you're like, oh, if it was like one person, you're like, fuck. I mean, in my head, I'm like, I'll fuck that one person. I'll go eat and we'll be okay.
Yeah.
Now, if it's the group, it's the core of your group, then I'm not going to feel some type of way. You know what I mean? But if it's one or two, and let's say it's like a 10 top and there's 8 of us, that to me, seat me. If those motherfuckers don't come, they don't come.
Well, they will seat you in that way because most likely, like we talked about, the 8 top is available.
Yeah.
Right? And they most likely don't have another 8 to just slide in there, and then you're going to be... Because the larger the party, the longer the wait.
Yeah.
Right? But in a 4, if it's a 4 top and only 2 people are there, they can seat that 4 top.
Yeah.
And then another 4 top is going to be available. So that's really the dance that the restaurant is going to do. Because if you're seated at the table, most likely you're going to have a drink, wait, and things like that. What we're trying to avoid is having no revenue
coming
while
in.
You wait.
Yeah.
And then off-putting other people that could be
You're taking up real estate.
at the table. It's not a park bench.
Yeah.
It's a business.
It's a business.
So that's the risk of holding tables for too long and things like that. Restaurants, like airlines, have adopted a strategy of overbooking.
Yeah.
Which is very important in my opinion.
Because you're going to have cancellations. You're going to have all those things.
Of course.
Yeah.
You're going to have cancellations. Yeah. You're going to have that. It's human nature. Not everything works out. And if it does, it's a great problem to have, in my opinion.
Exactly.
Unless you're a place that's super tiny or here's a formula in my mind. The longer you wait to make a reservation, as in we're booked 6 months out, or we're booked 2 weeks out. The longer you wait to have a reservation,
The better the place is.
the better the place is, the more commitment you have from the guests, and the more the less no-shows
You're going to have.
cancellations.
Yeah, because they know they can't miss. They're not. You know, it's like having a I brought up the doctors earlier. It's like having an appointment with a specialist that took you 3 months to get into the damn specialist.
Oh,
you're showing up.
Be there.
Yeah,
because it's going to be another 6 months before you can get back in there. Now, it's human nature. When you go to a wide open place, you're honestly relieved that you're going to sit down, but then deep down inside you're saying, what is wrong with this place?
Why is this place not packed?
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't have to wait. Why is it there's something wrong? And you're not going to, there's no mystique to it.
Yeah.
That's why clubs have the stanchions outside and the velvet rope, and there's nobody inside, but they have a
But they're
line
holding
outside.
that door.
Right.
Yes.
Okay? Because it's you play on human nature. And I don't understand why a lot of restaurants don't
Do that more.
the same
Yeah.
thing, because
If there's a line out the door, you're going to want to go there.
no one really is bothered by a 15-minute wait.
No.
It starts to get a little bothersome if you have a reservation and 20 minutes, you know, but 15 minutes, you can sell them something.
Oh, yeah.
You're selling them the first drink. That's
Yeah.
revenue.
Yeah.
Right? You're building in. I've never looked at, when we look at reviews and see I had to wait for a table as a barrier to entry
No.
to me.
I'm not mad at that.
Never. You know what I'm thinking?
You're an impatient motherfucker.
True. I'm also thinking this must be a
good
place.
spot, yeah.
Yes. Now, restaurants have to balance walk-ins and reservations. I'm not sure that there are too many places. Maybe places are booked, but is it reservation only?
No, like 100%?
Right.
I mean, yeah, like you walk to, most, you're
You
gonna
got to be high end.
Yeah, you're accounting for, even when you book, you like you said, there's that extra percentage of, the overbooking. You even include those walk-ins, a part of that overbooking as well.
Yes.
So you're like, okay, I might have, so I did X, Y, I put this many seats down for the night, and, that's 2 full turns for us, and then I'm expecting maybe another 5% of walk-ins.
Oh, even more.
Yeah.
Walk-ins can be the hack
Oh, yeah.
because you're there.
You're there.
Okay.
Where somebody might show up for a reservation late. You know what I mean? You're putting somebody in that seat because, other people have messed up.
Yes, I have money.
Yeah.
I'm ready to spend it.
Hi, look at me.
Yes, I'm here. And so that could be the hack, because if a place is booked, and you really want to go there, show up.
Yeah.
Show up, maybe not at 8.
No, don't show up. Don't try to show up directly at prime time. Okay, you sound crazy, especially without a reservation.
You're right.
Don't show up at prime time without a reservation. Either you do like maybe a happy hour, which is that leads into something, or like a 6 o'clock, or not at 8, maybe at 9. Because you like you said, you missed that window of that 7 to 9 window is everybody wants to eat at that time. Everybody. Okay.
Yeah.
So. And then don't be, I work at a restaurant. I work at a spot where they don't take reservations. And the number one thing I get on the time, how busy are you guys going to be at 7:30? I want to be like, you're a fucking idiot.
There's a better question to ask.
Yeah, like if I could see the future, I would, I wouldn't be working in this business.
I used to tell people, not busy at all. Come on
in, right? Yeah. Now you're gonna wait.
Yeah. I mean,
but we got you. We got you here.
Too.
We got you.
Where else you gonna go?
Where you got you
We're
stuck
the best
now.
thing in the radius,
Yeah.
baby. We're the best thing in the radius. Just come on in. You asked a dumb question.
Yeah.
We don't take reservations. And so let's discuss that. What do you think, real quick, what are the advantages and disadvantages to not taking reservations?
You know what you have. It's
Not taking reservations.
the disadvantage is you don't know how your night's gonna flow.
Okay, true.
The advantage is you can, if you're a busy spot, you're gonna just keep turning and burning the whole
You ain't
night.
saving no damn table.
There's no saving. You're
There's
in.
no saving.
Yeah, first come, first serve, baby.
Yes.
Let's go.
You're pouring it right
Yep.
into every seat right away.
Right away, keeping it moving.
And I think it works for that place because it's a place that has
Foot traffic. Oh yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
And so it's important to know your restaurant and how it flows.
And exactly. Know your demographic. Okay. Know where you're at. Know what your location. You know what's walking by. And I know when people buy restaurants or they buy houses, they always give you that look. You have XYZ walking this way or coming through or car traffic but you should kind of before you do anything go examine and see what's going on.
Yeah, I think you could do that in places that you're right.
Yeah,
that have foot traffic. If you're in a plaza off somewhere and somebody has to drive there, they want to know that what's going on first.
Exactly.
But if you're just walking by and you're like, this looks like a place to be, I'm accepted. I could walk in or I can wait a little bit and stuff like that. So, I like the reservation part of it because of staffing. Because I've never been on a management side, but I like to know that when I come to work, there's X amount of business for me.
There's gonna be some money for you to make.
It's really, really one of those unsettling things that I used to have to deal with is coming to work
and be like, oh, there's not enough, and I'm gonna let you go home.
Yeah,
it drives you crazy.
You have to show up to get cut.
Exactly.
I get cut beforehand.
Yeah, and that's a beautiful thing.
I could do something with my life.
Exactly.
And now there's all these reservation apps now. So we talk about technology in reservations. And it's a double-edged sword, in my opinion. The good part is it's easy to make a reservation.
Yes. It's also easy to double book yourself or good to go multiple places. That is the problem.
It's easy to make a
reservation.
There is a certain amount of commitment that one does when you pick up the phone and you call, you tell them your name.
Yes.
Perhaps you have to give it's personal. It really has that bond and commitment where you gave your word in a way, and those I'm willing to bet that those types of reservation systems
work better
and have way
less
even
no-shows.
If it's 5% less no shows, it's better.
That number's huge when you think about it. 5% is a lot.
It's like if you had to talk to somebody, it's like the Twitter fingers, that kind of thing. And you rattle off whatever you feel like, but if you had to tell them to their face, less people would really get in your face about saying something off
when
topic.
You have to talk, exactly. When you can hide behind a screen or hide behind
the anonymity gives you that you're emboldened to be able to say we're not showing up or we're going here or we can double book or triple book or we'll get a better time over here, but let's secure this time in case. Yeah, and that is an issue. So. Yes. Do you want to host us there for hours on end or two to take reservations? I know that's going to do, it's labor cost.
It is. It costs labor. And that's why you adapt both sides of the coin. We get that. Yeah. But the human touch is always going to be the human touch, and people will always show up better when it comes to the human touch.
Agreed. So what do you think what are our suggestions to patrons to make reservations a better experience for both them and the restaurants?
If you're committed 100%, you call. Okay? Yes. I love that. If you be committed, show up.
Show up
on
time.
Don't be mad if there is a deposit. That to me, that means that locks you into your own commitment.
Right.
And that works for the restaurant as well on the other end because it's going to hold more people accountable.
I agree. So be on time and communicate.
Yeah.
If you're going to be late, if you're not going to show up as early as possible, make the cancellation and be flexible with the timing. When you show up, know that you have a 15-minute window,
buffer. Yeah, exactly.
Maybe a 10-minute window. Don't expect to just
walk in and walk
right in because it's not practical.
And your table can even be ready. They might be busy at the host stand. The other table might have just gotten up. They're cleaning it off for you. There's multiple situations.
That is also true. Your server may have just been sat.
Yeah.
And to make sure that you have the best experience, they're going to hold you back 5-10 minutes so that service can get started on the other table and he can now concentrate on you. Excellent point. And from the restaurant side. Clear communications of reservations and their policies. You will be charged for XYZ, or you're expected to do this. If you're 10 minutes late, your reservation will automatically be canceled.
Yes, exactly.
And so to be transparent also with the wait time, what your expectations are when you have a reservation is very important as well. And using the technology to, I've gotten the text messages, are you still coming? Or, please confirm your reservation.
Please confirm your reservation. As you know, and you get like an hour before. Oh, we're so excited that you're coming.
Yes.
Please confirm, hit C or whatever, and that's a great way to utilize those online platforms and stuff like that, where it is giving you reminders. And it's also great for birthdays and events, because now they have this stuff locked into the system where, okay, now they know who you are. You've been there XYZ certain amount of times.
Yeah.
Like we did a show with our friend Naheem, who had worked at the Keens, and they were really good about knowing their guest.
Yes. And so let us know if you have any suggestions on reservations. Put it in the comments if you're watching on YouTube.
How to make them better, or what your experience with reservations are in general.
That's a good question to ask as well. Now, you can reach out to me. I'm at the Modern Waiter Podcast on Instagram.
Boom.
Or you can email me. I respond to my emails all the time. I'm themodernwaiter@gmail.com.
You said it all.
I'm Marlon Joseph, the Modern Waiter.
I'm Danny Villain. Subscribe, people.
We will see you next week.
Later.